It had been a sunny day at the beach. Katie learned that if you stand near the water, the waves will gently tumble up to tickle your toes. Orbie found out that crabs scurry off and hide in the sand when they know you're looking for them. And they both discovered that a broken piece of colored glass can get rounded and smoothed by the sand and the waves of the ocean. Katie and Orbie sat under a great big beach umbrella. They'd just finished their picnic lunch. As Mom packed up the cooler, she looked around for Dad. He'd gone for a walk. She told the friends that he'd been a while, so he must have discovered something interesting. She then asked them what they were planning to do next. They'd already dug in the sand and swum in the waves. Katie looked over at the sand behind them. It seemed to form mountains, and she wondered if it would be fun to go mountain climbing. Mom told them that sand mountains were called dunes. She thought exploring them would be a good idea. They could pretend that they were going on a desert safari. Mom explained that a safari meant a trip or expedition in search of something. If they were going on a safari, Orbie thought they should make special safari hats with Dad's newspaper. Mom agreed as Dad was finished with the newspaper. She helped the friends fold 3 hats, and I have to tell you that little did they know that on their safari, they were soon going to find a mystery. They all ran over to the dunes, but as they tried to run up the first dune, a funny thing happened. Their feet sank in, and some of the dune slipped away underneath them. Climbing up was very hard, but great fun. They laughed and shrieked as they tried to get to the top. And when they reached the top, they all noticed a very peculiar thing. Ahead of them, several dunes away, a little boy was bouncing way up in the air and down again. It looked like he was bouncing on the dune. Katie and Orbie were very puzzled. Mom tried to get a better look, but as she turned, her foot dug into the sand, which slipped, and with a shriek, she tumbled all the way down the other side to the bottom. Her laughter trailed behind her all the way. Katie and Orbie, eager to solve the mystery of what the boy was bouncing on, and of course to save Mom, rushed down after her. Once Mom had brushed herself off and readjusted her paper hat, they all scrambled up the side of the second dune. Above them, the boy rose up into the air, wiggled and spun, and then sank down again. The 2 friends had never seen anything like it before. Mom told them it was a real mystery. They climbed up to the very top. When they looked up again, the boy was gone, and to their utter astonishment, the person now bouncing was Dad. Dad wiggled in the air, and Katie and Orbie giggled at him. Orbie burbled that maybe it was a giant elastic band. Katie thought it might be a huge spring. It was quite a mystery. Just too curious to chat, Katie and Orbie leapt down that dune and scrambled up the last one. Mom followed. As they stood on the top, Dad waved his arms and said he couldn't stop bouncing. Katie and Orbie laughed. What on earth was he on? It looked like a black, rubbery flying saucer to Orbie. It looked like a giant licorice candy to Katie. And by this time, Dad was pretending to walk on air every time he bounced up. Mom told them the mystery was solved. It was a water trampoline. She said trampolines were made of a stretchy material held with spring. It made a person bounce up high when they jumped on it. Before she could say more, the 2 friends disappeared down the last dune and ran over to Dad. Mom scurried after them. The trampoline was out a bit from the shore. There were 2 people called spotters who were there to help if you needed them. As Katie and Orbie arrived, Dad climbed off. He said they could all have a go, and Mom thought that she would rather be a watcher. Katie took the first turn. She handed off her hat to Mom as Dad and one of the spotters whisked her up onto the trampoline. And immediately she could feel the springy, bouncy feeling of it under her feet. She gave a little jump and was surprised by how much higher up she went than usual. She tried again, pushing off a little harder, and as she rose in the air, she could feel her stomach lift up too. It felt a lot like she was flying. She giggled and laughed and called to Orbie that it was a lot of fun. Each time she was up in the air, she could feel the wind blowing through her hair. Once she had her balance, she lifted up her feet and landed on her bottom. Next, she did a ballet stag leap. Lastly, she jumped up and turned around in the air. She had a terrific time. And at the end of her turn, her family and everybody watching clapped for her. It was Orbie's turn, and it wasn't a moment too soon. Orbie could barely wait for Katie to finish. And when he felt how springy the trampoline was, Orbie was delighted, and with each bounce, he flew higher in the air and did a little dance while he was up there. Then tried a triple mid-air cartwheel and landed beautifully. Next, he went into a swan dive position, and as he fell toward the trampoline, he flipped over just in time to land on his bottom and bounce back up. He did all kinds of Orbie acrobatics. Everyone watching was spellbound. Everyone clapped for Orbie. Orbie and Katie could still feel the bouncing as they walked back around the dunes. It had been a great day. They had solved a mystery, had a great time beach bouncing, as Orbie called it. Katie and Orbie were already thinking of things to try the next time that they came to the beach for a bounce. And do you know, if you had been there at the beach that day, I'm sure you would have had fun mystery solving and beach bouncing, just like Katie and Orbie. And I happen to imagine that you would be very good at both.